morning, good afternoon, good evening. You are watching the Paris Fintech Forum Communities video interview series. I'm Elliott Gotkine, and today I'm joined by the Director General of Currency and Retail Payments at Banque de France, Erick Lacourrèg. Great to have you with us.
Hello, everybody. Very pleased to be with you as well.
Wonderful. So before we get cracking, we are first going to learn a little bit more about the French central bank's role in currency and payments. So, Erick, among other things, you manage the currency in circulation and supervise retail and digital payments. Talk to me a little bit about the evolution of payments in France in recent years.
Yes, well, it's been in France like in almost all countries in the world, and especially in the advanced countries. What we've been through is that, of course, when you look 50 years ago, everybody was using cash. 99% of the payments were made in cash, at least on the points of sale. And of course, we've been through this very strong and very active digitalization. And then what we see today is that, of course, everybody is moving to digital payments, but still cash is still important and for a lot of people. But we need to, of course, manage this move. And this is as well a very big challenge for central banks.
Right, and not just moving from cash to digital payments, things like Apple Pay and whatever, and things like that, and digital wallets. But a lot of the excitement this year after artificial intelligence seems to be stablecoins. Now, the last time I spoke with one of your colleagues, Banque de France was carrying out about a dozen trials of central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. What was the outcome, and what impact will they have on French banks and or consumers in France?
Yes, well, we have, I would say, three different topics around this, and you just mentioned them. The first one is the CBDC, and the central bank digital currency. So the question is very easy. We were speaking about cash. Do we need to transfer all the qualities of the central bank money, which is cash today, to the digital world? That's the first question. And so behind the CBDC question, we have two different topics. We have the wholesale and the retail. So we're working on both. And of course, we believe that both are important. And so, we are doing, whatever is necessary to be able to bring to the market at one point these two, I would say, these two offers. And then we have as well the other topic, which is the move of finance in general to stablecoins, and as well to tokenized deposits, but stablecoins. And then this is another story. I would say it's complementary to central bank digital currency.
And what other innovations in the payment space is Banque de France working on or perhaps planning for the future?
Well, the thing is, our innovations, we need, of course, to gather our strengths on a few important topics, of course, because we cannot manage and go in all directions. What is important today on our agenda is that we need first to deliver a solution for wholesale CBDC. That's key, and that's as well what the market is waiting for, and that's as well, I would say, an important aspect of getting in the new digital age the interbank the payments, and that's of course as well an important stake in terms of keeping the central bank money function in the interbank payments in the financial world in general. So that's the first important topic. The second is the retail CBDC, very important as well, because we need as well to figure out at one point if there should be some kind of unified sovereign answer to the evolution of retail payments in Europe. When we see, at least in the 20 countries of the Eurozone, when we look at the situation, we see that we don't have any global payment scheme, domestic payment scheme, I would say, independent, I would say. So that's a very important topic. We see that as well, there are a lot of private initiatives, very good, and especially from European players. But we need to be sure at one point that we can get, with our single currency, the euro, we can get as well a single payment, retail payment scheme all over the 20 different Euro countries. So that's the second topic. What we push as well very much, and we will be doing that more in the future, is that we want as well to get at one point a strong ecosystem for Euro stablecoins. And that's as well complementary to the two different, two other projects I was speaking about.
And just briefly, when should we expect to see, CBDCs,
Yes.
supplanting kind of, traditional cash in Paris, in France, and the rest of the Eurozone?
Well, the idea is that if we go to a digital euro in general, I mean, wholesale will be, of course, the first step, and this is important as well for as I said, for the financial sector. But speaking about retail, the digital euro, when it is offered to the general population as a means of payment, the idea is that it won't be replacing cash. We will keep, as long as possible and as long as necessary, the two versions of this central bank money for the general public. This is important because it's a question of the resilience as well, and this is a question of financial stability. We need to be sure that trust in currency, which is guaranteed by the central bank, will stay forever, I would say. And so that's very important. So it won't replace cash. It won't replace it.
Right, but forgive me. What's the timeline for when this
Right.
is more in operation, complementing cash?
Sure. We have two different agendas. First one is for the wholesale CBDC. That's absolute vital priority, and we will be delivering different solutions to the market in the next 2-3 years. So that's a key priority for the euro system. And then for the digital euro in the retail form, the idea is that we need a legal ground voted by European Parliament for this. And then the idea is that we are waiting a vote in next May, actually, May 26th, from the European Parliament. So, of course, the idea is that the vote would be positive, considering that there is a strategic interest for this solution. And then we will be starting the development of the realization phase of digital euro, and then delivering it somewhere around end of 28.
Okay. And unless I'm mistaken, you also manage the Banque de France's gold reserves, and this in a year when gold prices were hitting record after record. How does that affect your job and the attention that you pay to gold, the amount of which you hold, I think, at Banque de France, I think, has held steady since 2009?
Well, gold is, of course, part of a lot of central banks' reserves, and I mean the appetite for all players on the market, including central bank, is getting bigger and bigger on gold. So it's been an important activity in Banque de France forever, I would say, for since the very beginning. And you may know that we do have big reserves in Banque de France. I mean, in the top 5 reserves in central banks in the world. So this is an activity in terms as well of market activity, and we're offering as well a service to foreign institutions and other central banks or other institutions in terms of gold custody. So I wouldn't say it's one of the major business of Banque de France, but this is as well a significant one. And I mean, this business probably will be developing because you know that appetite for gold is directly linked as well to the level of political stability and geopolitical stability in the world.
But I suppose the central banker's answer would be, you don't necessarily act according to fluctuations on in market prices for gold. I mean, it's been the same level since 2009. One would imagine that's probably going to stay the same for the foreseeable future.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we don't have an active policy on this in terms of selling or buying gold. We keep our reserves and we offer a complementary service to other partners.
Okay. All right. So we've heard about the payment and currency side of Banque de France. Let's now get to know Erick a little bit better. So, Erick, I think you first joined Banque de France in 1991, and you've worked there ever since. Was that always the plan to kind of, stay at the Banque de France and just kind of rise through the ranks?
Absolutely not. I mean, that's what happens very often in central banks. Once you enter, you stay, which is a good sign in a way. I would say that the advantage for me in terms of career is that I've been through a lot of different positions and very interesting different, I would say, activities. This is partly why I decided to stay. Of course, I mean, there are temptations to go and see if the grass is greener on the other side of the street. But still, I mean, the idea is that I have to say very honestly that what is important as well in my mind is it's important to work for public interest topics and as well for the good of the community. This is as well why a mission of a central bank is quite exciting from this point of view. And I have the feeling when I come to the office or when I travel around the world for Banque de France or when I go to the ECB or to see other colleagues, that we are working and even fighting for the common good. And this is a very important aspect. I have to say as well, Elliott, this is very important. What I see is that when the world goes a little bit more frantic, and when we have a lot of course, crises and problems and geopolitical issues and whatever, the need for trust in currency is stronger and stronger, and this is why we are paid for. I mean, as central bankers, and this is why probably I would say fuels my energy and my will to keep up serving for the interest of the community.
And of course, you need your energy for when you're hiking at weekends. I suppose when we talk about central banks, we often talk about hiking interest rates and the like. But I guess you're a central banker who likes to hike himself.
Yes, that's true. I mean, I have a small place in the mountains, and I mean, one of my way to get energy is just to get on the highest areas of around my place and just try to think about, keep some kind of distance and think in a very quiet and in a very calm way on what's going on around me, and that's very refreshing and very helpful, I have to say.
Excellent. So look, Eric, a key part of this interview is to get your take on the future of finance. But first, we are going to take a very quick break, after which we are going to continue our conversation with the Director General of Currency and Retail Payments at Banque de France, Erick Lacourrèg. Welcome back, and don't forget, if you're not already a full member of our community, everything you need to join can be found at www.parisfintechforum.com. Okay, so now, Eric, let's talk about the future of finance. So, Eric, we talked earlier about Banque de France's role with central bank digital currencies and stablecoins. Given that all of the $250 billion or so of stablecoins out there, almost all of them, are pegged to the dollar. And I think you talked earlier a little bit about the importance of making sure that the euro is kind of, fighting a good fight there. Is there a danger, though, that the euro or even a digital euro could be kind of supplanted via this new, innovation in finance?
That's a very good point, and we are extremely concerned, and I would say we are considering very closely this topic of the evolution of the stablecoin offer and the stablecoin market. First of all, this is a good evolution of the market. I mean, what we see is that, of course, there are a lot of advantages of the DLT technology in finance. So, I mean, the question is not to say that, I mean, this is a danger in itself, which is not true. What is important still is that we need, of course, to be sure that we will keep a balance in the financial ecosystem, and especially in the Eurozone, when we see that the development of USD stablecoins is getting, of course, bigger and bigger, as you said. That's a concern. And why is it a concern? Because first, we have, I would say, risks of disintermediation. That's as easy as this. And of course, we need a few answers on this. And I talked about that already. And this is why we are developing, of course, an answer based on CBDC, but as well trying to boost the market, the domestic market on solutions with with euro stablecoins. What are the risks? The first risk is that we need. The risk is that we will be having probably maybe in a short while, and that this could happen very quickly. First risk is the disintermediation of I would say the banks themselves, in a way that what we see is that the USD stablecoins are getting very strong, infrastructure are developing, these infrastructure are not domestic. So what we see is that the risk could be that a lot of the financial exchanges today in euro could just switch to USD and be managed on non-domestic infrastructures. So that's a risk of disintermediation of I would say, the banking activity in Europe, but as well of the central banks themselves and of the role of central bank money in terms of putting trust in the system and as well balancing the whole financial exchanges. And that's the first important risk. There is a second risk, which is that we could see a growing tendency in a lot of countries, and maybe especially in emerging countries, maybe less in advanced countries, but still this is the risk as well everywhere, that savings could move from the local offers in local currencies to USD stablecoins in order to avoid, it's as simple as that, for instance, inflation. And then the idea of how to finance the economies if big part of the savings just fly away to external markets, and especially the US market, that's a question. It's not a reality, but it's a growing concern. That's important.
And I think that a lot of these concerns and others were articulated, I think, earlier this year by the French Nobel Prize winner Jean Tirole, talking about a lack of transparency in the assets that are backing stable coins, that they might start chasing yield on the assets that are backing them, and that payment systems should be left as a public good rather as in Brazil and China. So overall, and I was going to ask you this later, but since you mentioned it, would you agree that the benefits, that the opportunities offered by stable coins for a more efficient and faster and better, more secure financial system outweigh the risks?
Yes, we need, obviously, the benefits, we all know them. There are 4 big benefits. Of course, it's instantaneity, transparency, cost, and of course, safety. And they're very important. And we have to do with that. The tokenized economy will be stronger and stronger, and it brings a lot of advantages. So, of course, we're not questioning the advantages of this technology in finance. What we are questioning is that we need to adopt the right level of regulation, not too much, not too less, in order to be sure that all the economic agents are safe around this technology. And then as well, we don't want as well to unbalance the current situation of financial markets and of financial exchanges in general. And of course, with an area which is mostly today the US economy and the US financial sector, which could get a very strong position, maybe too strong position compared to what we can have today in Europe, for instance. So we need to balance that. That's as easy as that.
And, you were talking about the risks of perhaps, the US dollar stable coin or stable coins kind of, pushing the euro aside, by the back door almost. It took a few years for the euro itself. I remember when it came into effect. I'm old enough to remember as well. It took a few years for the euro to get going and to be seen as, like a proper global reserve currency. But it now accounts for around a fifth of global reserves. Would you expect to see that ultimately things stabilizing in that kind of way, where in a world where stable coins are kind of, I don't want to say taking over, but more prevalent, that around a similar amount would be in euro stable coins and a similar amount in dollar stable coins, etc.?
Yes, that's a very good question. The other question behind yours is, are we getting through the USD stablecoins if the market just develops in tremendous proportions? Are we going into a new phase of full dollarization of the world economy? And that's the question. And of course, what we believe is that it's important that we keep a balanced situation between several big currency zones. So we don't have, I would say, a direct policy, an official policy to say we need to reach this level of reserves in amount of world reserves in euro. This is just the side result of the development of the economy and all different aspects. But what we are sure of is that we need to keep the current position of euro, and especially the independence of our economies. And this is why we need as well to balance this evolution of the stablecoin technology and offer.
And of course, one way of doing that is through regulation to both encourage new innovations in finance and to make sure that the market develops in the way that you hope. The EU has its markets in crypto assets regulation, or MiCA. There's also America has its Genius Act. What bits of regulation when it comes to digital currencies, digital assets, could each jurisdiction, Europe and the United States, learn from each other to make stablecoin regulation as a whole better?
Well, I think that in the current situation, the regulations are developed, I would say, in parallel, of course, in the US and in Europe. I have to say that, of course, what is very important as well is that we need to be sure on the European side that we are giving a legal context that can help the ecosystem of stablecoins develop, and especially, and I will repeat that again, in euro stablecoins. So that's, of course, a strategic aim. The MiCA regulation has probably reached a fair balance and probably needs as well to be updated on a few aspects. But what we need now is probably to help as well the banking sector in Europe and all the actors to take this step ahead on the euro stablecoins, and we need as well to manage the side effects on the Genius Act, which is very dynamic and helps as well a tremendous development of the offer of stablecoins in USD, not only in the US but throughout the world. And this is the topic we were speaking about. So the idea is that we need to find a balance between these two legislations, and there's a way for that. And we need probably a strategic and political will in Europe. It has been already said several different forums and several as well institutions, but we need as well to gather very much on that in the next month and years.
Now, one thing we haven't spoken about yet is artificial intelligence. So what role do you think AI is going to play when it comes to currency and payments in France and in the Eurozone as a whole?
That's a tough question. And it's complicated in all sectors, and especially in finance, it's very complicated to say. What is obvious is that we see, and we have already a few signs for this, we see that many processes and functions in the financial world will be probably taken over by artificial intelligence, and that's a good evolution. So we will probably evolve in very significant way in a lot of activities in finance. What I see as well is that we are probably on the edge of this revolution, and it's very difficult to say in advance what will be used and what will be the impact in maybe even 2 or 3 years. What we can say is that most probably the concern that we do have today is probably linked to the impact of quantum technology on financial activities in general, and on the safety as well, on all the cryptographic activity behind finance. That's probably if I would to rank the importance of the risk and of maybe the priorities that we need to manage in the near future. It's number one. we need to get all our financial systems, so all our IT system, quantum proofed, and that's important in terms of especially protecting the data and the key process. That's the first thing, and it is linked, of course. You were speaking about artificial intelligence. This is the next step. This is probably a revolution. We have this big question of do we have a speculative situation today on AI or not? This is not, of course, the topic of our discussion, but what is certain is that we will be in a tremendous way. All our jobs will probably evolve very, very much in the near future. So that's my only possible answer at this point in time.
Okay. Eric, very, very briefly, because I want to get on to the last section. You mentioned that physical cash is going to continue to be around alongside digital cash. So the question is will physical cash be around forever, or is there a day, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years when physical cash, in your view, will breathe its last breath? Just a brief answer if you could.
That's a very good point. I could talk for hours on the matter. That's brief as well, but I won't. No, very seriously, what is important to see is that we live in a very technical world. We all rely for daily life on a very simple thing, which is called electricity. When electricity is over, of course, I mean, this is not science fiction. We are experiencing more and more crisis situations where electricity is off and needs maybe a few days to get on again. We need to pay and we need to buy food. Just for this only reason, which is not enough, of course, to justify the daily use for everybody in all societies, but just for this reason, we will need cash for a long time.
Okay, like as a kind of fail safe. Okay,
resilience.
Right, resilience. Okay, so look, it's time now, Eric, for our round of rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
I am.
So we have 90 seconds on the clock. We're going to try and get through as many of these as we can. Just one-word answers is all I'm after, if you could please. And when the alarm sounds, we will stop. Okay, so what fintech segment, in your view, has the biggest potential over the next 5 years?
The biggest potential probably is on payments and probably
payments
as well.
Is fine. What is the biggest pain point in your everyday financial life that you would like to see resolved?
The fragmentation of payments.
Are bank bosses ready for the AI revolution?
So.
Are customers ready? Maybe the same answer.
So as well.
All right. Have regulators in Europe and America kept pace with all the new possibilities and behaviors we're seeing in the financial industry? Just a yes or no.
Yes.
Have you personally ever invested in cryptocurrency?
No.
Are physical points of sales part of the future of finance?
They are.
Are bank branches part of the future of finance?
They are.
On a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is the most likely, 1 is the least likely, how likely is it that in the next 10 years, one of the neobanks will be as profitable as a top-tier legacy bank?
8.
Out of 10. 8. That CBDCs will become a mainstream reality in the US or EU?
EU 8.
That you'll be able to open a crypto account at a top-tier bank?
Yes.
Out of 10?
8 as well.
Okay, well, we heard the alarms. I'm afraid we are out of time for our round of rapid-fire questions and for our conversation as a whole. So I really just want to thank you for taking the time to speak to us today. Erick Lacourrèg, Director General of Currency and Retail Payments at Banque de France. Thank you so much. Merci bien.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And for everyone watching, we will be back again next time with another big name from the world of finance and technology. We do hope you'll be able to join us again then. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe to the Paris Fintech Forum YouTube channel and to follow us on X at Paris Fin Forum. That's all for now. See you next time. Bye-bye.